It seems recently, just like my channel, Anime Vanguards has had a major fall off recently, and knowing the risks of the bipolar Anime Vanguards community, I'm releasing this video. Anyways, please don't end my life. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing what looks like the fall off of Anime Vanguards. Well, sort of. Just before we begin, I'd like to mention that I still love the game. This is not a hate video. Please delete the paragraph if you're in the comments already, and just watch through, please. Anyway, here's a few Game Pass coupons for my liking the videos. I'm going to do a bunch of giveaways in future videos, and Discord link in description. Anyway, let's begin. The main reason why I decided to do a video like this is I did a 24-hour stream, and I constantly kept getting asked what my thoughts were on the update.
Flashback.
And I guess the founder is another one that's going to be kind of hard to get. Holy gaslighting. Just say the update is boring at least. I don't know, because the thing is, right? No. Okay, hold on.
What do you mean by that?
End of flashback.
I constantly did say that I did enjoy the update, but a lot of people called me out for sort of lying, and I kind of would be lying if I didn't say that the update was poor in my opinion. Throughout the 24-hour stream, I basically farmed for an hour to get to pretty much complete the update without getting Ymir, and I did spend a few hours helping other people get Eren and whatnot, and I did enjoy that. But other than that, I've enjoyed playing Wild more than I did the update. In my opinion, the update was pretty short. There wasn't a whole lot of content. It was pretty easy to get Eren, and none of the units were really that cool in my opinion. It was kind of a bland update. It was bug-free, which was nice. I did kind of realize that later on, but there weren't any bugs or any issues regarding that. But the overall update was kind of boring. And the update before it was kind of just a copy and paste of the winter event, which I do understand is an event. It was just a straight-up copy and paste. There was nothing new. And it kind of felt, again, really boring and not something I really wanted to invest much time inside of. But if you look at the player count from late February to, I think, late May, it was averaging about 50,000. Obviously, there were spikes where they were reaching about like 100,000 whenever like an update freshly dropped. But it did seem like the game was sort of set on that 50,000-ish like milestone. Like it was averaging 50,000 players. This was throughout the update 4 to update 5.5. So we got Bleach, and then I believe it was the Sung Jin Woo update. And then it was, again, Dragon Ball Z. And then finally, it was Sid Kagano from Your Eminence in Shadow. So it was 4 updates that people really, really wanted to see. So looking back past that, we had an update on the 1st of June, which was the new game. This was a Guilty Gear update, which I still feel like was kind of cool. It showed that we'd be getting updates on niche interests. This was kind of cool. And we also got a new PvP game mode, which we were kind of looking forward to, some of us. Not a lot of people wanted to see it, but I still feel like it was a cool addition. So I genuinely still feel like update 6 wasn't a bad update, but moving on from that one is where I thought it sort of started to go downhill, which was the Portals copy and paste. As much as I do understand that it's sort of supposed to be a seasonal event, I do feel like it was just a copy and paste update with just Kaguya being like a cool unit to get. I do understand all the units, if you look in depth, they're all really cool, but I feel like front face value, the update was just a copy and paste of the winter event. It wasn't anything really, really cool. And then again, the last update, which is the AAT update, I think the wait time it took to drop the update was more time than I spent actually playing the update. And that wasn't because I didn't enjoy it or anything. I genuinely just finished it in like an hour. It took me an hour to get Eren. I was obviously able to roll on banner and get whatever units that were in banner, but other than that, the time it took me to get to Eren and even evolve some units, maybe an hour, maybe 2. Even some people that have been playing the game for a long time have also just said that the update was just lacking a lot of content. There wasn't enough to do. And in my opinion, it was just a really, really short and sort of bland update, in my opinion. And the update before it was just a copy and paste. In my opinion, the power creeps aren't that great. In terms of the units that sort of are good, I've seen an argument where someone said that you need to get the most latest monarchs in order to complete updates. Obviously, I just think that argument doesn't make any sense at all. Updates, in my opinion, are now just dull and repetitive, where it's the same farm for a different unit, which you typically don't even need due to the slow power creep. I believe adding in new evolutions for older units is a way for them to ensure the units can always become useful again, especially the older units from like update 0, you know, the earliest updates. Just adding in a new evolution, I feel like a lot of people thought that was going to happen for Vegeta, where Vegeta was going to get a new evolution in the Dragon Ball Z update, which he kind of didn't. They just fused them into one unit, which is I still think is really cool. Again, it's like based on like the Dokkan Battle character. But again, I think it's just the fact that they can introduce evolutions into older units, making them useful again. We've seen 2 new game modes being added in, which is PvP and Odyssey, which people just don't really play that often. Like, you don't really hop on to play Odyssey or PvP unless you are into that. That's kind of cool as well. I think PvP is a great way to get people who are into PvP involved, but I don't think it was. I think it was more of a niche update. It was marketed towards those players who wanted to take AV to another level. But again, it just wasn't for the majority. Like, that wasn't what most people wanted or were looking forward to. I still feel like the addition of it was really cool. I just don't think they've been adhering to most of the community after PvP. Building onto that, I think the power creeping in Anime Vanguards is a bit poorly. In terms of when a new update drops with the units that I currently have, which is, you know, a Vanguard Sung Jin-woo, a Vanguard John Smith, I don't really need any of the newer units. There have been arguments where, yeah, the newer units will help you out with like EX stages and whatnot, but right now, even with my Monarch units, they're not really a necessity. Like, I can join a team, and with my current units, I can pretty much clear them. And so if I just use my Aladdin from update 6 and a Monarch unit from now, I can pretty much clear that EX stage by myself. But yeah, if I just use some of the older units, I do understand that they're still going to help me out, like, later on for parts that I actually have to think about. They're just not a necessity, though. Like, I don't need the unit. Like, I've already gotten some of the cooler units now. Like, there's no units that's being added in that you kind of are, like, intrigued to get. They're just, like, smaller units that are on the way. Their passives are just going to be really, really helpful. Now, the next thing I kind of wanted to bring up is kind of going to be a touchy subject for some, which is just the new pity changes that have been added in Anime Vanguards. So if you haven't seen already, it's now a 1.5k pity for Monarch, and you can now visibly see what the pities are. Also, the Vanguard has now become 3 million currency, so as long as you spend 3 million currency, you'll reach the pity and you will get the Vanguard unit guaranteed. In my opinion, as much as I feel like these are a cool update and kind of cool to be added, they were only added in because the recent updates were lacking and the community just wasn't happy. They've honestly said that they weren't going to add this in. They said that they weren't going to make pity visible and they weren't going to remove or reduce pity. So I feel like they were just added in only because the updates were slacking. And I feel like that was a bit odd to see if they're going to say that they're not adding in certain features that a lot of the community are looking for unless the updates are slacking. Like, again, people were asking for trait transfer, and they said that they're not adding in trait transfer, and they have a valid reason to not add a transfer between 2 of the same units, which doesn't really make any sense, but they said that there was going to be a valid reason for it. I just don't see the reasoning that they won't add in certain updates or features into the game unless people are, like, unhappy with updates. I feel like features like trait transfer wouldn't hurt at all. I feel like they'd just be a cool update to have instead of, oh my god, if this update doesn't do well or if the community isn't happy, we'll try and make them feel better by adding in something that we said that we'd never add in. A sort of disappointing aspect to see. And it does seem like a niche amount of the community is listened to. Again, I do see that the Anime Vanguard community has such mixed opinions, and I've been reading some of the comments, and it just seems so, like, I'm sorry, some comments are so stupid. I saw one where someone said that people need the latest Monarchs or else they're just out of meta. But if you go through the tier list, you can see Vanguard Sung Jin-woo from update 4.5, Yuha Baha from update 4, Sid Kagman update 5.5, Goku's on there update 5, again Aizen update 4. Like, there's so many meta Monarch units from the oldest updates that you can think of that I don't see the point in that argument. And we always know that Vanguard units will be at the top of the tier list. They've said that Vanguard units will always be buffed up just so that they don't fall out of meta. So they'll probably still fall down to like Z+ tier, but they'll never be awful. You already know like what units that you should be aiming to get a Monarch on. As long as you know that, you'll be fine. Like, Vanguard Sung Jin-woo has been at the top of the meta since he's dropped. He's never fallen off, and you can have Deadeye or Monarch on him, and he's pretty much just as good as each other. I feel like as long as you use your brain with sort of re-rolling, that's not an issue at all. I just feel like that part of the community where the opinions are sometimes just really, really stupid is just awful. I feel like another thing that the game sort of lacks in terms of updates is like storylines. I enjoyed the Sung Jin Woo storyline. I thought it was cool. I'll stand up and say it. I think a storyline quest is cool. I don't want to just keep doing the same legend stage over and over again for a 0.75 update unit, or now a 15% unit. Like it, I just feel like there's just so much more that can be added in, and I honestly don't think that the game is doomed. The next unit, the next 2 updates are going to be Escanor, the new Vanguard unit, and also a Berserk update. A Berserk update is going to be so cool. They're adding in 2 new like sort of animes where people have been actually highly requesting them. 7 Deadly Sins and Berserk. Now, my only worry about the Vanguard Escanor update would be is how are they going to run it? Because they've just said that, again, they've dropped the pity for him. So does that just mean that we're going to get a copy-paste of the last update? Is it going to be any different? Or are we just going to have another portal or something like the Dandadan one where we're just farming currency? Or can we get something cool like the Sung Jin Woo questline? I honestly think that the questline is really cool. And as much as people complain about it, yeah, you'll spend a good chunk of a few hours doing this quest for the best unit in the game. You literally have the best unit in the game. I don't think it's that far off. I honestly did enjoy the farm. Like, I did enjoy it. I've done all of it myself, and I did enjoy it without macros. But I'm honestly looking forward to seeing what they will do in the future, and I do think that they can easily bring this back. It's just how will they do it? Honestly, in my opinion, this update was worse than the Dandadan update. I think the Dandadan update is overhated. We got a first new we got introduced to Vanguard units, and it was the first event. I don't think this was as bad as the Dandadan update, because at least the Dandadan update had more content. It was a boring farm for a unit that you'd probably never get, but I'll take that over an hour's worth of content. In my opinion, that's all it was. I honestly got an hour's worth of enjoyment out of it. I honestly do want to hear your guys' opinion too. I do know that AV has the most mixed opinions, and people can never agree on the same thing. I love AV, and I do want to see what will happen. And I do want to sort of see the comments that I will receive. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.